Off Meta Monday!
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another thrilling episode of Off Meta Monday. I'm your host, Flaffic, and today we're going to be talking about a leader that I think deserves a lot more TLC. And Bandai seems to agree with me because they're giving her a new treatment in the upcoming OP03 set in Japan. Of course, that means we're talking about the original Red Blue Vivi from OP04. Now, this leader is pretty dog water. She can't attack. The Alabasta support is absolutely shitty, and so we really had to scrape the bottom of the barrel to make a deck list that works, right? So I scoured the internet, looked on YouTube, checked out Limitless. I found one winning list that ever topped from formats ago, and of course it was running gen base, so we can't even use that to, base our list off of. So this one is truly from my heart of hearts, and I think you're going to find it to be really fun and quirky. So let's get into it and see what we're cooking on. Okay, so here with the deck list, I eventually settled on a Navy package after hours of abhorrent tinkering and failures with other, random shenanigans that this deck could offer as far as what other people were trying to make, or whether it be animal or fucking, some people were doing straw hat stuff. I tried that. I tried fucking 2 different animal lists. I tried a couple different Navy lists, and eventually I settled on this. But first I want to talk about the leader. Like I said before, she can't attack. She's got that 5,000 power, which does us no good. In the Alabasta package, you can kind of do stuff with that, but we're not using those cards. We're using her main ability every turn, though, if we can help it, to pay 2 Dawn, draw a card, and give something Rush, which is the main centrifugal force of the deck that's going to keep things pushing aggressively, but also we're going to be playing sort of a mid-range package, keeping a lot of cards in our hand, keeping a lot of blockers, in play until we can start rushing the board with Pacifistas and then start pushing 8K swings with our Garps later on. But in the actual deck list, we've got 4 Peacock is going to be our best searcher. She's our, traditional 1 cost, 1K counter searcher that looks for anything other than herself, within the archetypes. Going to grab a Navy card. But what we really like her for is to be able to trash her to give another character plus 1,000 power for the turn, because we're very tight on Dawn in this deck, and being able to give that extra little buff to something is going to be, priceless, right, for us. But other searchers, we've got Tashigi. That's our normal Navy searcher that we've been playing since the fucking Sakazuki days. That 1K counter, 1 cost, 2K power, look for a Navy other than herself, right? Super good standard stuff there. Looking at the Pacifistas though, because Sentomaru is technically a searcher, right? We've got Sentomaru, 3 cost, 4,000 power, 1K counter, Dawn 1, activate main, you can pay 2. Very expensive, right? Like that's what, 6 Dawn to do his effect, which I guess isn't really that expensive since you're getting a character out of it, but I digress. Anyway, with that 2 and 1 Dawn investment, you can play a Pacifista with a cost of 4 or less from your deck, then shuffle it. We are going to be playing a decent amount of Pacifistas. I see a lot of people who do the Pacifista engine, and they're just running like an absolute fucking like shitload. I didn't feel like we had to go that cartoony with it. I think we can be pretty modest with our Pacifistas. So we've got 4 of the blocker Pacifistas that let us play more than, 4 copies of it. But we're only playing the 4 because I think that's all we really need and all we really have to worry about fitting in. But 4 costs, 5,000 power, just to get that blocker on there. We can swing with it, we can block with it, and it's a brick, but we have ways to put it back in the deck, which I'll get to in a second. Otherwise, we got 2 of the normal vanilla Pacifista. That's just a 4 for 6 swing, and it's got the counter in case we need it also. Next up, as far as blockers go, we've got 4 of the new Marco. He's just such a bully blocker that I really love to play in blue decks if I can fit him in. Like, he's just going to be a staple forever, I think, because you can swing with him, and the opponent doesn't want to swing back into it on the clapback because they don't want to give you the 2 cards, or the 3 if you're in the ace in the future or whatever. But you can also just keep them up and block with them, and they're forced to like, oh, maybe I don't want to swing because now I don't want to give them the 2 cards either. So they're not going to swing in your life, they're not going to swing on him, unless they're willing to give you those 2, and sometimes those 2 can really shift the game into our favor, which we'll see in some of the games that we're going to be looking at here in a little bit. Next, I want to talk about the 2Ks, I think. We've got 4 of this Gion. I think she's my favorite Navy 2K, honestly. A lot of people like the Suru that bounces something, which I was playing a little bit of, but she makes you discard 2 cards, and I didn't really like that. I think the Gion's just good because she costs 4, she's got that 5K body, so we can swing with her if we need to, but we're going to be able to pitch her creature is a 2K most of the time, but on your turn, whenever your opponent activates an event, they have to put a card from their hand back on the bottom of their deck. So it keeps our aggro pushing, and especially if they're trying to use like 0-cost events, you really punish them for trying to save themselves using Gion. Otherwise, as far as 2Ks go, we've got 4 of the Hina. She's a 3-cost, 3K power, 2K counter. You can rest her and trash 1 card from your hand to give something with a cost of 4, original cost 4 or less, sometimes helpful, that make it to where they can't activate blocker. I don't think this really comes up in any of the games that we played today, but I'm sure it could come up in the long run if you played this deck, over the course of many weeks or whatever, right? To round out our 2Ks, we've got 4 of this Garp. This is the card I was talking about earlier that we used to tuck our Pacifista bricks back in, because on play, you draw 2 cards and then put 2 cards from your hand back on the bottom of your deck. So 3 cost, 3K power. We can swing with him with a little bit of Dawn investment. That's pretty good there. He's got that 2K counter, so we can pitch him if we need to. But mainly, if we end up having a bunch of Pacifistas locked in our hand from our life, or maybe we took a bad mulligan and we've got him in our hand, we can put him back in with this Garp, swing with him, kind of, make him get rid of him, make him try to oh, this guy's annoying, right? And then use the Sentomaru later to get the ones that we tucked back in, right? So super helpful there. Otherwise, I want to talk about this 2 of Rosinante. This is our main help protect our board card. 1 cost, 1K power, 1K counter, kind of helpful there, whatever. But if one of your blue navy characters would be removed from your opponent's effects on their turn, you can rest him and trash a card instead. So that's just going to help keep your guys alive, because they're going to be wanting to kill your board, and so it's going to help us stave off some of that removal from your yellow, purple, your black, that kind of stuff, right? As far as other 2Ks go, I realized we skipped this Kaya. She's out of archetype, so I forgot about her. We got 2 Kayas in here. That's just a little bit of extra draw power for us. That 1 cost, draw 2 cards, trash 2 cards. And the 2K counter. We mostly use her as a 2K, but every now and again, hey, you need a little extra draw power, just drop the Kaya and see what you can pitch for, right? Rounding out that, I want to talk about our boss monsters. So we've got the 3 Garp and the 3 Kuzan. The Garp is the same one we're seeing in the Kuzan deck. It's that 8 cost, 8K power. On play, trash a card from your hand, play a Navy character with power of 8,000 power or less, other than Garp from your hand. And of course, we're mostly just going to be playing Kuzan with that. He's a 6 cost, 8K power. If you have 5 or more cards in your hand, this character gains a 1 cost. And then on play, trash a card from your hand. Up to one of your opponent's characters can't attack until the end of your opponent's next turn. So you play this guy, you're going to be pitching 2 cards, which is going to be kind of hurtful, but you're playing enough cards, keep enough cards in your hand that it's not going to be that bad. And then you're going to block up something. You're going to have 2 bodies on board, and on 10 done, you can go Garp, drop the Kuzan, and then give either one of those guys rush to swing in that turn, and then you've got another 8K body ready to go on the next turn. So that's kind of the lethal force of our deck, really. But other than that, we've got a couple of events to kind of help round out our life. We've got 3 bad manners, kick course. This is just our free counter, because like I said, we're going to be so tight on Dawn that we're not really going to have a whole lot to spare. So being able to have that 0 plus 3 is going to be super helpful for us and keep us alive into that mid-game, late-game section where we really start to see our deck shine. We've got 1 Red Rock to help deal with some of the big bodies, and then we've got 2 Gravity Blade Raging Tigers to deal with a wider board, because that's kind of mostly what we kind of crumple to. We play enough blockers to kind of stay off, big, huge, I'm playing tall kind of guys, but we don't really have a lot of helpful, tools to keep us from getting killed wide, and that's where the 2 Gravity Blade come in over, 2 Red Rock instead, right? So that's the list. Let's get into the games and see how it fares for us.
Versus Rosinante.
Okay, so getting into the game here, our game 1 is up against Yellow-Purple Rosinante. We're going first. We're going to jam our Tashigi, search up a Sentomaru here. This is my first time playing against Rosinante. Wasn't familiar with the leader ability, but essentially he can take his own life to prevent his laws from being KO'd, and he can subtract Dawn to make his laws that cost 4 or more cost less than that, right? So very simple stuff here. On his turn, he's going to jam up 2 Laws, grabs Uso Hachi, and a all technique, this technique extinguishes all sound. Never heard of that card before. On our turn, we're just going to draw a card with leader ability and play our own Rosinante. It's our little protection boy there. On his turn, he's going to throw 5 at us. We'll just take it for the card advantage. And then he jams 2 Shirahoshi blockers. Very unfortunate for us. I think we'll have to deal with that our own way. We'll figure out something here in a second. Thinking about Sentomaru, but instead we're going to search with a Peacock, and bam, there's our answer to the Shirahoshis and Gravity Blade, and we will hard cast one of our Pacifistas in our hand. We do have a way to tuck that other one back into the deck later on, so we can grab it with Sentomaru, but now we're just going to pitch it. JK, swinging 6, we'll counter out with 2, and he's going to play a Pudding. Back on our turn, we'll draw up a Marco. It's pretty good for our card advantage later, but I think now we're going to go ahead and play that Sentomaru. And we'll grab a attacking Pacifista. Now here I misplayed. I was thinking I was going to have enough Dawn left over to activate leader ability, draw a card, and swing with this Pacifista. But I miscounted like a dingus, and on his turn he's going to swing 8 at us. We'll just take it. There's our Garp again, so we can throw that Pacifista break back in. Shut out Garp. But on his turn he's jamming the Big Law. Doesn't choose to activate the on play. So he's just got a big body now, but I think we're just going to Gravity Blade the Shirahoshis away and draw a card and swing. So we got the extra counter in hand, and then we can go ahead and pitch the Peacock to give us a 7 swing. He chooses not to counter out of it, which honestly I think he probably would have taken it if it was 6 too, but he just took it regardless. He's going to jam a 7 Law. This is a new one. I wasn't super familiar with this one. This one gives all of his laws like plus 1,000 for the turn and a whole bunch of other stuff. Didn't really take the time to read it if I'm being honest. Oh, very quirky. Okay. So he's going to get in for 11 after clearing our Pacifista. We'll just take it, grabbing a Gion. We got another Pacifista jamming our hand up, so now it's time to go ahead and play that Garp. We'll recycle 2 of them back. Drop yet another one, so now we've seen all of them. We'll put 2 back, and then we'll fetch that one back out that we just put back in with Sentomaru's leader ability here. Maybe, thinking about it. Reading this law again, double checking myself. Thinking about it. Yeah, okay, we actually ended up going ahead and playing it, and then we'll just jam a regular Marco blocker. That way, you know, we have plenty of things to block with. We can get a little bit of card advantage back with this Marco when he swings this 9. Bam, we got some 2Ks, we're good to go. That's exactly why we love Marco. And 9 will just, I think 9 we can counter out of pretty easy with a Bad Manners, pitch one of those Brick Pacifistas and a 2K. Got one more big swing for sure. Getting in for 10. We'll just block that one. Chump away one of those Pacifistas. Here comes another Big Law. Let's see what he's got. Oh, this is just a regular blocker. Played for very cheap, which is cool. We'll grab another blocker Pacifista, tuck that blocker Law, and tuck the Pudding so we can cut his value engine down a little bit. Keep him done from coming back so fast. Get in for 5, see if he takes it. I think he totally just does here. We're kind of trying to get on the aggro train, trying to keep the life count even. Right now he's asking me how many Pacifistas I run. I think I eventually told him. Yeah, so he countered out of the swing. He's going to get in for 9 on his turn. We'll just block. He's got so many more swings. This is not looking good for us. He's going to actually choose to go on Sentomaru instead here. I think if he just should have just went life, he probably would have been a lot more better off. But ideally, you know, you're going to see a lot of people going for our board with this deck just because we can't swing with leader, so that's the only thing that they really have to worry about. You get in for 10. We'll counter out to make 12, or excuse me, make 11. And let's see if we can do anything else left over to try and build us a board back. Tashiking up a Garp is pretty good. Let's see what we can grab off of this. We'll just take the 2K, whatever. And then we'll go ahead and Kuzan away the Garp. Keep one of these laws from swinging on us. We've got 2 Dawn left over to give that Kuzan rush. And then we'll get in for 8 and see if we can't KO at least the little guy, right? Because we want to leave our blocker up, and the Rosinante isn't big enough to kill the Law. So he's just going to take his own life to protect his Law, so he keeps his swingers up. We'll hit that. Red Rock doesn't really do us any good here. It would have been great if it was one of the big swings, and then we hit Red Rock, so we could have got rid of the small Law, but c'est la vie. Gonna get in for 8. We'll block there. We have a little bit of life left. We can maybe stave this off, but I think, guys, this is not looking good for game 1. He's going to try and clear our Kuzan off. We'll counter that out. Another Law. Got a tough decision to make here. Red Rock or Garb. We're just going to Red Rock one of those Laws away. Get in for 2 on this Law. He lets us have that one. He doesn't want to give us the life here. Surprise, surprise. We'll try to kill this Law. He's got plenty of counter, or he can just take the life, which is what this Rosinante deck really excels in. I'm finding out is that, you know, once they get to this like weird threshold, they can kind of just say, fuck it, we'll just take the life. You're not going to clear a board out. We've got you on the clapback next turn. And just like that, GG, well played. All right, that was game 1. Let's get into game 2. Okay, so game 2, we are up against green-black Issho. He's going first. So on our turn, we've got 2 Dawn Despair. We're going to play 2 Toshigis. Luckily, we started with 2 Searchers, and I think we're going to grab Sentomaru on both of them. I'm semi-familiar with green-black Issho. I'm familiar with his game before. We have some guys at locals that play him every once in a while. Basically, with Dawn 1, he's going to give a whole reduction to the entire board on his turn. Or excuse me, with Dawn 2 on him. And then he can pay a Dawn to untap a guy at the end of his turn. He's going to play a Searcher, grab the stage, and he's going to drop a brand new. On our turn, looks like we are just going to jam up a blocker and dare him to get rid of it, because it's Marco. So that's a great blocker to play against black decks. He's going to play the stage that he fetched up. He's going to grab the Rebecca, and then I'm pretty sure he's going to play the Toshigi that he pitched off the brand new. Classic Navy shenanigans, swinging in for 5, and I think we'll just counter out of this to try and keep up a little bit of life here. See what he actually does, because right now he hasn't really done anything besides search and play blockers. We're going to go ahead and get our Sentomaru train going with the Pacifistas, and we'll punish him for not swinging or doing anything to our Marco. Let's see if he lets us have it. I think he's going to block here. Yep, he's going to block, and we'll just pass it up. Whatever, you know, we got rid of the Rebecca. He's got the cost reduction, but that's one less blocker we have to deal with. We don't really have anything that's super worthwhile for him to get rid of. I mean, either way, we're going to be swinging with 2 dudes. He's going to swing in. We'll counter out. He's going to jam the Kuzan, draw a card, and pass. We've got 2 Searchers. Okay, so now we're kind of like reeling from not letting him hit our life as much, because we don't really have a lot in hand, but we do have a decent amount of filtering that we can play around with. Just kind of reading his leader, double checking that it's a 5 or less that he can restand, not just anything. So throw it on onto our Sentomaru to get that ready. We'll go swing. Kuma's coughing back there. I'm going to swing the Toshigi, and then we will play the Pacifista to replace the Toshigi. You good, buddy? Yeah, he's good. He's coughing. Place that Toshigi, then we'll get up a Pacifista, give that guy a swing, and then we'll give a swing in with the Marco, pass it up. So, coming back to his turn, he's got a lot of Dawn. We've got a pretty tapped down board. He could punish us pretty hard here, depending on what he's got. Thinking about swinging that Kuzan, it looks like. Come on, today, Junior. He's going to give us a cost reduction with the Marine Ford, cost reduction with the Toshigi. Okay. Looks like he's going to try and clear our Sentomaru and maybe our Pacifista both. Dropping a Rebecca. Getting the Brook. Going to go ahead and get rid of our Sentomaru, so that's one out of the way. And then he's going to swing on to our Pacifista. Oh, no, he's swinging on the Marco, which I think we just let him have that. Well, nope, we're going to counter out. I think we just force him to try and kill it, because, I mean, we counter out. We've got plenty of more stuff to do. He's going to go for the Pacifista there. We'll counter out of that, too. Just kind of keep our guys up. Pops our blocker Pacifista with a Brook. No big deal. Here, I think we can just reset our Pacifista engine. I think that's the play. Get in for some damage first, and then try to set our board up, because we could hit life and get punished pretty hard here. So we'll go ahead and swing on to the Kuzan, see if he blocks or counters out. He's thinking about it. This is a tough call for him. He's gonna go ahead and let us have it, which is bold, I think. Kind of says that he maybe doesn't have anything in his hand, so we'll go ahead and swing onto one of the 4Ks here. He does block that, so he definitely doesn't have anything in his hand right now. Go ahead and swing. Oh, no, we're not going to swing board quite yet. Going to send Tomadu up, get the Pacifista going, and then we can throw 2 Dawn on the Tashigi and swing 4 on something. Just maximizing our Dawn and our board as best as we possibly can here to try and clear what he's got going. We'll give rush to that Pacifista, and we'll swing on to the Tashigi. So, reason why we swung on the Tashigi instead of one of the Brooks there is because, yes, he has the KO power, but the Tashigi's that extra bit of reduction. He gets -1 off of each Brook swing. His leader gives him -1, and then Marineford, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Theoretically, he could get rid of 2 Pacifistas, but he can't clear our entire board without extra reduction and an extra killer. So we'll just go ahead and get rid of the Tashigi right now. He's going to play the Rebecca, grab the Kuzan. Basically resetting his board from the work that we just did. He's going to throw 5 at us. We'll just take that. We're at a point where we can actually, stand taking life. Going to get rid of our Sentomaru here. Instead of the Pacifista, we'll let him take the Tashigi, because we're going to want to have some character space to go, and we don't really need to swing with her, because we're going to maximize our Dawn here. Or at least try to maximize our Dawn here with just straight up aggro. Kaya to see what we can find. I think we trashed the Pacifista. I don't think we really need that super whole lot right now. Most of our Sentomarus are gone, so we can kind of afford to get rid of the Pacifistas. We'll trash one of the 2Ks. We got one in hand already. Get him for 6. He lets us have it, which is crazy. Go for 6. I think he... Oh, no, he's letting us have it again. So he's trying to really rebuild his hand off of us, which is going to sort of kick him in the ass, I think. We'll trash one of these 2Ks. Jam up his ability to KO one of our guys here. And then I think we just throw the rest of this Dawn after drawing a card. We'll throw the rest of the Dawn onto Marco. Get him for 8. And then swing 7. So... he has to counter out a bunch here, push his hand back down to 4. We're kind of a hand parity, so we should be okay in that regard. He can't swing with at least one of his Brooks, so really he's only going to be able to KO one thing without dropping something heavy out of hand. 5, we take the life. We have plenty of life to give up now, because we have such a lead on him that we just kind of edged out just now, because he gave us that, right? Like, that was just for free, right? Going to try and kill the Kuzan, which we don't have the extra buff on the Kuzan right now, unfortunately. With that 5 cards in hand, he gets +1 cost, but not going to help us now. He's going to drop the Sabo. This is my secret out of PRB. It was my box. I got a secret Sabo and a secret Zoro, and I hated it. It was the absolute... I probably had the worst PRB 2 box ever. I did get a Marco out of it, so, you can't complain there. He's going to clear our board up a little bit. We're going to have to try and protect this Marco the best we can. He's going to KO our Kuzan. We saw that coming. And we don't have a lot left to work with now. So how do we wedge our way out of this? We're going to start swinging face. And then we can just swing a big body here. Okay, he lets us have it. All right, so... if things went too much longer, I think we were in a bad way, but he did not have the counter to stop us from just getting in for the Rush 8K, which is why the fucking Navy package just works.
So that was Vivi. I hope you enjoyed watching. I enjoyed playing the games. I thought it was a little touch and go there at the beginning, especially with some of the earlier lists that I made for this leader, because like I said, it was pretty hard to get something that was even confident enough to win a couple of games against some other off-meta decks, right? But it was fun. This Vivi is going the way of the dinosaur pretty soon. She's going to rotate out come April, so if you want to get your fun with it now's the time to do it. And also, OP04 is going to be coming out here pretty soon. It should be out, honestly, by the time this video video goes up. I'm not really sure on what the release date is, but this is going up in a little while. This is like October 17th right now for me. So I'm pretty sure by the time this is up, Vivi will be out. We'll have a good idea of how well she's going to sit in the meta, and I think it's going to be pretty cool to watch her stretch her legs now that she can actually attack. As always, thank you for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe. This has been your host, Flaffic, on Off Meta Monday, and we'll catch you next Monday with another quirky leader and another goofy deck.